건물이 외국인.
So like
That's
black-headed.
racist. I wouldn't want to like classify these issues as like a Korea thing. Like instead of bringing a burrito, you could bring some nachos, right?
Right.
Then everyone could have a little bit of your nachos.
And then say it's nacho cheese.
This is like something that I heard. I think it's part of like Korean law. But something that kind of doesn't make sense to me. I think this will be like an extreme case, but like, and you have neighbors that won't shut up. I don't know what they're doing, but they won't shut up. Maybe they're fighting. You want to tell them to shut up, right? So like, what would you do?
So easy. Just briefly tell us about yourself.
Have been living in Korea for the past 12 years now. I originally came as a native English teacher working in Daegu, and I've been living in Daegu since then. If I were to move anywhere else in Korea, I don't know if I would. I really like it in Daegu. I have a family.
All right. Wow. So 12 years though, that's a long time. What made you want to stay here for longer than 10 years?
I don't know. Like I came after my mom passed away, and my mom always told me that like my Korean level is really bad. I wasn't able to speak Korean, and she was like kind of embarrassed by it. And she always told me that like I should go spend a year or two in Korea just to learn Korean, and probably go back to the States, but never got around getting back to the States, and I'm still here.
Yeah.
After my mom passed away, I think she'd be really proud of me, seeing that I use Korean for my job now. So after about 2 years, I was pretty good at Korean. And then I think after 3 years, I met my wife, and that gave me another reason to stay. So after staying a few more years, I got married, and yeah, time just flew. It doesn't feel like 12 years. It feels like just yesterday. I was just at my first orientation with Epic, and now I'm balding.
Do you know the term 건모회?
Huh?
건모회? Do you know what that means?
No.
It's not like a really nice term. It's 검은 머리 외국인.
검은 머리 외국인.
So like,
that's
black-headed.
racist.
Yeah. That's
So
us. Asians, black people. No, it's us. This is us. Korean, ethnically Korean.
Like ethnically Korean, but we're not. We're 외국인.
Okay.
Like our status is 외국인.
Okay.
Like gyopos are 건모회.
Okay. I never heard that before, but
it's not like a nice term because there's negative connotations linked to it, saying like, oh, they're so ignorant of Korea. In regards to 건모회, how long did it take you to maybe conform to the Korean norms of living?
I don't know if I ever did, but I don't know. It's that's offensive. It's like whatever. I've had worse in the States, as an Asian.
Yeah.
Just like grew up with racism my whole life, so it's like one more racist. It's not even that bad.
What sort of racist experiences did you experience in America?
Nothing like super bad, but it's like very casual racism.
Yeah, so I actually wanted to, that's the answer I expected, right, from you.
Yeah.
So what would you say is different, racism in America versus racism in Korea?
The racism I experienced growing up in like California, was never really that bad. Like I said, it's like casual racism. It's not like majority minority kind of thing. It's more like minority on minority racism, where it'll be like another minority would say racist things to me, and I might say something back to them. And it would just be like not out of ignorance or anything. It'd just be like, I don't know, we're kids, and we noticed that we have different skin colors, right? In like other regions of the United States, though, I feel like that kind of racism, a lot of it will come from ignorance. And the same way, like I don't feel like offended by like racism that stems from ignorance. They're just stupid. They're just ignorant, right? And if I hear something like, what was it? Kommoe? It just sounds like racism that comes from ignorance. It's just like, yeah, just continue living your stupid life. That's fine.
So the ignorance, the difference between racism and ignorance is, racism is basically when you have hate emotions attached to a certain particular race, whereas ignorance is the lack of knowledge of a particular race and just making careless remarks about that minority.
I think those thoughts, that hatred towards a group of people comes from ignorance. Yeah, I think this I don't think they're like mutually exclusive. They're like, they usually one spawns the other.
Okay. So they're both in the gray zone?
They're definitely related,
Okay.
A lot of first generation Korean people, even in the States, like, they're like pretty racist sometimes, right? That comes mostly out of ignorance, I feel like. It's because they don't understand other cultures that they would say like these kinds of things about the other cultures or other ethnicities. And I think a lot of that has to do with, just again, like that group mentality, right? There's us versus them. And we're going to categorize ourselves like this, and we're going to categorize the other group like this. And that's racism. Because they're different, because we categorize them into this kind of group. Right. That's
Team A versus Team B.
Yeah. That itself is racism, I guess there's like also ignorance where it's like, you're not supposed to do that. Like, that's not the way that you're supposed to think. But maybe this is like where like the cultural thinking kind of is different. Whereas like I would be more towards like the individualist side. Everyone is different. It doesn't matter what the group is like, because every individual person is its own individual person. And it's not like each group is its own group.
For us, we're ethnically Korean, so we are more exposed to the Korean culture even before coming to Korea, maybe through K-Town or people around us. So we have some sort of an expectation, right? But then when it comes to like non-ethnically Koreans, what kind of culture shocks or cultural differences do you think a lot of foreigners and expats in Korea kind of clash with in their lives and kind of have trouble overcoming that clash?
I see a lot of people just, I don't know if it's really a cultural thing. I mean, like, people are people, there's like a lot of different kinds of people everywhere. And I wouldn't want to like classify these issues as like a Korea thing. But I think from like a Korean cultural standpoint, I think like the idea of doing everything as a group is one thing. The first one is like, doing everything as a group all together all the time.
What's an example of that?
Like, I remember going to work back in like Pasadena. I'd always like show up to work with, maybe like I might have some breakfast, just like I'll bring it to my desk, like a burrito and like a coffee, right? But like if I did that this is one of the cultural shocks that I had when I first did that in Korea, bringing like a burrito and a coffee to my desk. Like people will look at me like, hey, where's mine? And I'm like, no, dude, this is mine. And like, I don't think a lot of people are ready to like, if you do something like, if you bring something to work, you're like kind of meant to share it with everyone.
Sure.
And that's what I mean by like, the group mentality.
Sure. So then fast forward to 15 years plus. If you were to
I'm still bringing my own coffee.
If you just I
won't bring the burrito. I'll leave the burrito at home. I'll bring my own coffee.
But if you did bring a burrito,
yeah,
and someone says, "Where's mine?" How would you react and deal with that situation?
Right now, I'll probably bring an extra burrito for them. Yeah, it's like I see some people like doing that too. It's just like, yeah, well, I think like most of Korean society would actually just bring like extra stuff for everyone, right?
Sure.
And I since then learned to eat breakfast before leaving the house.
Yeah.
But also, yeah, I always advise people like, if you're gonna bring a snack, bring something that's kind of easy to share. Like like instead of bringing a burrito, you could bring some nachos, right?
Right.
And then everyone could have a little bit of your nachos.
And then say it's nacho cheese.
Yeah.
My bad. All right. Yeah. So what about the other one? We just talked about group culture.
It's the direct speech, and I think
okay.
because I see this is one of those things that I can't really attribute this to being Korean. So I've met some Korean people that are super direct. They're like, and some of them that will just say everything not to hurt your feelings. And I think right now people are like, it's a T thing or an F thing, right? But so I guess it's better now. There's some people that are not direct, and there's some people that are super direct. I kind of learned to try not to offend people, but
so you try to be more of an F person.
Yeah, but I'm actually not. So like I have a lot of trouble. So this is like something that I heard. I think it's part of like Korean law. It's something that kind of doesn't make sense to me. I think this will be like an extreme case, but like, for example, you're living in a building and you have neighbors that won't shut up. I don't know what they're doing, but they won't shut up. Maybe they're fighting. You want to tell them to shut up, right? So like, what would you do? Probably just like go knock on their door, like, hey, it's like super loud. Yeah, I think that's like illegal or something in Korea.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
I think what I've heard from community forums, you would have to ask the 경비 아저씨.
Yeah, it's in an apartment complex. If you have like a 경비, if you have like a security person, and you call the security person, and they'll call your neighbor and tell you to shut up, right? Which just seems like a lot of unnecessary work.
Exactly.
But like it's like the law now. So
it's a law.
I think it's a law.
Oh my gosh.
And that'll be like another example of like the direct, like an indirect kind of thing. Like I don't. I guess it might. There's a lot of crazy people, I guess. So maybe that's why they have this law. I don't know. I would feel more comfortable, just going directly to my neighbor.
Right.
And like put a face to the complaint. Like I'm the one that complained, right? Like your actions, your loud whatever is bothering me. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really. You're not supposed to do that.
So in a way, there always has to be a middleman involved.
Yeah. No direct messages. Yeah.
Okay.